Om Namo Narayana, welcome back. We are on Chapter 3, Talks between Lord Shiva and Sati. Maitreya continued his story. In this manner, the tension between the father-in-law and son-in-law, Daksha and Lord Shiva, continued for a considerably long period. When Lord Brahma appointed Daksha the chief of all the Prajapatis, the progenitors of population, Daksha became very much puffed up. Daksha began a sacrifice named Vajrapeya, and he became excessively confident of his support by Lord Brahma. He then performed another sacrifice named Brihaspati Sava. While the sacrifice was being performed, many Brahmarishis, great sages, ancestral demigods, and other demigods, their wives, all very nicely decorated with ornaments, attended from different parts of the universe. The chaste lady Sati, the daughter of Daksha, heard the heavenly denizens flying in the sky, conversing about the great sacrifice being performed by her father. When she saw that from all directions the beautiful wives of the heavenly denizens, their eyes very beautifully glittering, were near her residence, and were going to the sacrifice dressed in fine clothing, and ornamented with earrings and necklaces with locklets, she approached her husband, the master of the Bhutas, in great anxiety, and spoke as follows. Sati said, "My dear Lord Shiva, your father-in-law is now executing great sacrifices, and all the demigods, having been invited by him, are going there. If you desire, we may also go. I think that all my sisters must have gone to this great sacrificial ceremony with their husbands just to see their relatives. I also desire to decorate myself with the ornaments given to me by my father, and go there with you to participate in the assembly. My sisters, my mother's sisters, and their husbands, and other affectionate relatives must be assembled there, so if I go, I shall be able to see them, and I shall be able to see the flapping flags, and the performance of the sacrifice by the great sages. For these reasons, my dear husband, I am very much anxious to go. This manifested cosmos is a wonderful creation in the interaction of the three material modes, or the external energy of the Supreme Lord. The truth is fully known to you. Yet I am but a poor woman, and as you know, I am not conversant with the truth. Therefore, I wish to see my birthplace once more. O never-born, O blue-throated one, not only my relatives, but also other women, dressed in nice clothes and decorated with ornaments, are going there with their husbands and friends. Just see how their flocks of white airplanes have made the entire sky very beautiful. O best of the demigods, how can the body of a daughter remain undisturbed when she hears that some festival event is taking place in her father's house? Even though you may be considering that I have not been invited, there is no harm if one goes to the house of one's friend, husband, spiritual master, or father without invitation. Immortal Shiva, please be kind towards me and fulfill my desire. You have accepted me as half of your body. Therefore, please show kindness towards me and accept my respect." The great sage Maitreya continued his story. Lord Shiva, the liver of the hill Kailasha, having thus been addressed by his dear wife, replied smilingly, although at the same time he remembered the malicious, heart-piercing speeches delivered by Daksha before the guardians of the universal affairs. Daksha said, "My dear beautiful wife, you have said that one may go to a friend's house without being invited, and this is true, provided such a friend does not find fault with the guest because of bodily identification and thereby become angry towards him. Although the 6 qualities, education, austerity, wealth, beauty, youth, and heritage, are for the highly elated, one who is proud of possessing them becomes blind, and thus he loses his good sense and cannot appreciate the glories of great personalities. One should not go to anyone's house, even on the consideration of his being a relative or a friend, when the man is disturbed in his mind and looks upon the guest with raised eyebrows and angry eyes. If one is hurt by the arrows of an enemy, one is not as aggrieved as when cut by the unkind words of a relative, for such grief continues to rend one's heart day and night. My dear white-complexioned wife, it is clear that of the many daughters of Daksha, you are the pet. Yet, you will not be honored at this house because of your being my wife. Rather, you will be sorry that you are connected with me. One who is conducted by false ego and thus always distressed both mentally and sexually, cannot tolerate the opulence of self-realized persons. Being unable to rise to the standard of self-realization, he envies such persons as much as demons envy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. My dear wife, certainly friends and relatives offer mutual greetings by standing up, welcoming one another and offering obeisances. But those who are elevated to the transcendental platform, being intelligent, offer such respects to the supersoul who is sitting within the body, not to the person who identifies with the body. I am always engaged in offering obeisances to Lord Vasudeva in pure Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is always pure consciousness, in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Vasudeva, is revealed without any covering. Therefore, you should not see your father, although he is the giver of your body, because he and his followers are envious of me. Because of his envy, O most worshipful one, he has insulted me with cruel words, although I am innocent. If, in spite of this instruction, you decide to go, neglecting my words, the future will not be good for you. You are most respectable, and when you are insulted by your relative, this insult will be immediately equal to death. Thus ends chapter 3. They will honor you, these relatives, because, that's the proper thing to do. But they will honor the supersoul, but not the person who identifies with the body. It's kind of an abstract thing, and my first thought is, yeah, well, are people that enlightened? Well, the people he's talking about are, myself, if I go to my relatives thing, are they so enlightened they will not honor my body but my supersoul? I don't know, but on the other hand, maybe yes. Maybe yes. And I think of relatives of mine who just don't go to church. It's just, I have a very non-religious home and family. And I think of them, and I wonder if on some innate level, for lack of a better term, the DNA level, there is something in them that when they honor whoever that comes to the house who maybe they don't really like, they honor that person due to their obligation, and they honor their super soul, the person inside them, but they don't really honor the person outside. I think actually that is how we all act on some level. Whether we're enlightened or not, we do it innately. We want to honor someone, we like someone, we think that person's whatever, but on the other hand, we can't stand them. I think we do. I think we do. I know sometimes I do that with people. I see someone, I'm like, oh, this person has great potential. They're creative, they're doing whatever, and I want to help them, and I want to work with them, or whatever. I want to support their endeavors, but at the same time, they're kind of iffy and icky and rude and just full of themselves. So it's like I have to honor who they are deep down, but I have to ignore the outside. And I don't call myself an enlightened person. I never talk about realizations or anything here that other people do on their channel, but I think it is an innate thing we do. I say that, which might be an odd interpretation of what we just read, but sometimes, though, we read things like this and we're like, well, he's just telling her about this party and enlightened people, and she ain't gonna enjoy herself because they're not gonna give a shit about her. And we could treat this just as a story, no different than a Stephen King book. But that's not what this is. This is scripture. This is for our personal growth, our spiritual growth. This is not just something we read because we're bored and it's a rainy day and we have a cup of coffee. This is something we are to read to grow with. So thus, to find an interpretation of this, that's what we should be doing. This is how we should take this, is to find how How does it relate to us? There, that's what I should have said in the beginning. How does this relate to us? And yeah, it's not parables like the Bible. It's not, things like that. It's just a story that takes a little work, but you can come to it. Maybe not. Maybe my interpretation of this is completely wrong, and maybe some people will say, yes, this is a story, and you need to interpret this as a story, and then find some moral, description of it. And that's it. That's what you get out of it. The details don't matter. Maybe. I don't know. That's what the comments are for, down below. So why don't you chime in and tell me your thoughts on this, on my comments, on anything at all. And with that, thank you as always for watching. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.